Hey everybody, Mark Davis joining you in the moments following our Wednesday, July 24th, 2013 program. Let's talk a little bit about history, shall we? I love history, and we don't have enough people these days who really do love history. In fact, we're probably graduating legions of high school students, even college students, who are horribly, historically illiterate. But let me talk to you about history in a different sense. People in this exhausting week plus of George Zimmerman, Trayvon Martin-oriented talk shows have approached this, a lot of the objectors to the verdict. They have told me, they've told all kinds of people, they have shouted from the mountaintops, Mark, I think George Zimmerman is a murderer because of history, or I think Trayvon Martin was racially profiled because of history. The president himself spoke a sentence that just makes my head explode, that there is a certain African-American experience which informs one's view of this case. What a horrible verb to use. Past history does not inform anyone about anything with regard to a specific case. Our history absolutely informs trends, lessons, things we should do, should not do, the lessons of history. What's the old adage? Those who forget the lessons of history are doomed to repeat them. I'm all about paying attention to history when it is relevant, which is a lot of the time. But if you have a horrible loss of life, February last year in Florida, there is nothing in your personal history or mine that informs our examination of the evidence of what happened that night. And for all these folks who have come to me, and it's just they keep coming, which I'm thankful for because it's a talk show and that means they're calling me. It's like, well, Mark, maybe you consider George Zimmerman to be worthy of acquittal because of your history. My history is what? As a white guy? My history as a conservative? No, none of those things has anything to do with my acceptance of the verdict. I accept the verdict for the same reason the jury delivered it. I paid attention to the facts and the law. And there is no way to pay attention to the facts and the law and conclude any differently. This notion of history as an informer, as something that you should use to infuse your opinions of what happened in a particular case, I stumbled across something and I'm going to share it with you now, because to absolutely everybody who comes to me and says, well, Mark, history makes me think a certain way about the Zimmerman verdict, and I've told them how horribly baseless and poisonous that is, let me offer you something back in return. Let's say there's a police officer. Let's make him a white police officer. And over his lengthy career, he has arrested maybe 100 black guys for stealing cars. People of other races too, but let's say it's been, just by virtue of where he's working or whatever, 100 black guys who absolutely are car thieves. That is his history. And today, he sees a young African-American man driving a pretty nice car and instantly says, I think that guy's a car thief. Whoa, we would say. Whoa, no. That's racist. But the officer would say, but that's my history. My history informs me about this particular African-American driver. No, it doesn't. There's nothing about what happened yesterday or 5 years ago or 10 years in your career that should tell you anything. You should only pull over people for whom there's probable cause. Are you following me here? Because in the Zimmerman case, in the Trayvon case, don't let anything that happened to you last year, 10 years ago, to your parents or grandparents, anything that happened in history from the Civil War era or the pre-Civil Rights era, all of that is extremely important. I cherish it. It's history. It's vital. It's important that we know what that history is. But when we allow that history to, quote unquote, inform us about specific events, it blasts through our objectivity. It means we're not looking at things with the kind of clarity we need. Okay, hope that's helpful. Now, I hope every show is helpful. We'll be seeing you tomorrow morning, I hope, on the Mark Davis Show, 7 to 10 a.m. Central Time, right here on 660 a.m. The Answer.